Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. Canada, Mexico, and China pushing back against U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's decision to impose tariffs on their goods. Trump has said he will impose an additional 10% tariff on goods from China over its failure to stop the entry of drugs into the U.S. As for Canada and Mexico, he plans to impose a 25% tariff until they clamp down on drugs and migrants crossing the U.S. border. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pledged a, quote, serious and methodical approach to the issue.
I clearly spoke with the President of the United States an hour and a half after he put out his suggestion on tariffs. The reality is we're going to continue to work constructively with the incoming administration to protect Canadian jobs, to protect Canadian growth, to take the responsible approach that isn't steeped in partisanship, that pulls together the Team Canada approach that stands up for Canadians instead of throwing our arms up and saying all is broken like the leader of the opposition.
Mexico's president also plans to speak with Trump about his new trade policy.
Responde a estos dos temas que le está planteando.
Now, if even after that there are tariffs, what we are saying is that it is going to affect the U.S. economy and U.S. companies that have been here in Mexico for 80 years. So, it is better that we have a dialogue and come to an agreement on all these issues and others that are relevant, and we have a plan anyway.
A Chinese envoy, meanwhile, stresses no one will win a trade war.
Of course, the U.S. policy on trade with China, with other countries as well, will have impact. And that is really an important element that we have to consider. I think the first thing most for us to do perhaps is to continue the good relation and momentum between our two countries and see what we can do together to promote for global trade instead of compromising our respective national interest and our common interest.
Well, the Mexican peso depreciated sharply on Tuesday after U.S. President-elect Trump said earlier in the day that he will impose the 25% tariff on products from Mexico and Canada, citing concerns with illegal immigration. The domestic currency, MXN, was trading at 20.7161 units per dollar, down 2.15% against Monday's LSET reference price. Mexico is the country's top trade partner of the U.S. as of September, representing 15.8% of total, followed by Canada at 13.9%.
As long as he doesn't take the presidency, you could say that Donald Trump is still campaigning, wanting to gain more trust from the U.S. citizens. But the U.S. may need more from Mexico than Mexico from the U.S. because of the geographic situation.
For me, it's more about generating noise with those countries because it's not only with Mexico, no, even with Canada, and it's a rather peculiar way of dealing with rather large trading partners.
U.S. President-elect Trump does not intend to spare crude oil from his planned 25% import tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Asked about the inclusion of oil imports, the Trump transition team noted that tariffs against China created jobs, spurred investment, and resulted in no inflation. Trump transition spokeswoman Carolyn Levitt said, restoring the American economy will also mean unshackling American energy. The oil industry warned the policy could hurt consumers, industry, and national security. Data from U.S. government statistical arm showed the U.S. imported about 5.2 million barrels of crude and petroleum barrels per day from Canada and Mexico this year, with more than 4 million of that from Canada.
Again, this is the conversation we've been having about whether or not the consumer will pay for it. Will it be absorbed in margins? Will there be some redistribution of how the products are shipped into the U.S.? Look, we went out and we eliminated Russian oil supposedly from the marketplace, yet it didn't happen. So it remains to be seen how this actually translates into final goods prices. And I'm a little bit skeptical of all the back of the envelope calculations that are being done, primarily because we don't know how suppliers are going to react. And we also know people are very creative at trying to find ways around these kind of programs.
Emerging markets are in for a tough and uncertain year due to policy shifts in the United States and uncertain growth in China. That's what JP Morgan said in its annual outlook. The top investment bank predicted emerging markets bond funds were in line for sizable outflows. The bank said its base case sees growth across developing nations slowing to 3.4% in 2025 from 4.1% this year. Looking at emerging markets ex-China, JP Morgan predicted growth to moderate to 3.0% from 3.4%. It sees challenging headwinds coming from tariff policy, geopolitical shifts, and domestic U.S. policy, leading to a stronger dollar as well as higher rates. French oil major TotalEnergies was not informed of a U.S. investigation into possible bribery and corruption at Adani Green Energy. It said on Monday, adding it will stop financial contributions to investments with Adani Group companies following last week's U.S. federal indictment. This comes after U.S. prosecutors did charge 8 people on Thursday, including Indian tycoon Gautam Adani, his nephew Sagar, and the former CEO of Adani Green Energy Limited, with promising and then making improper payments to Indian officials between July 2021 and 2024 for business advantages. The French firm purchased a 19.75% stake in Adani Green Energy in January 2021 after the Indian company won that was then the world's largest solar order, and just months before the payments to officials were alleged to have begun. Total also owns a 37.4% stake in Adani Total Gas Limited, as well as 50% stake in 3 renewable joint ventures with Adani Green Energy. TotalEnergies shares were down 0.04% Monday. Investors in the world's largest cryptocurrency are anticipating a significant downward move after Bitcoin failed to hit an all-time peak of $100,000. That's according to crypto trading platforms citing recent options activity. An analyst says the so-called call put skew index for the upcoming December 27 Bitcoin expiry showed a significant 30% drop in the last 24 hours as market participants shifted toward more protective strategies. Bitcoin hit a record high of $99,830 on November 22nd, but it has since fallen more than 8% to a one-week low of $91,300 on Tuesday. The best-known cryptocurrency has soared 120% so far this year and about 34% this month, with the election of Donald Trump as U.S. president and a slew of pro-crypto lawmakers in Congress. Chinese tech giant Huawei unveils its Mate 70 smartphone series, the first to be powered by its fully homegrown operating system. The new smartphone features the Harmony OS Next, which no longer supports Android-based apps. Its rollout marks a significant step in Huawei's push for software independence since U.S. curbs cut off its access to Google services in 2019. The phone starts at 5,000 yuan or $760. It's equivalent to more than 44,000 pesos. Coming up, how rural banking builds emotional connections with underserved communities and drives real change. Stay on BNC and follow the money.
We are giving spotlight with these innovative business enterprises that shares growth in our community. We're giving these entrepreneurs a chance to boost their business in the market.
We hope that we inspired you to embrace your passions and strive for your dreams.
Let's join Mai Rodriguez together with different entrepreneurs to know their stories and challenges. Pathways to Success, 11 a.m. on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Ginalaw po kasi yung CCTV. Do you do that in PAO? The upper chamber was invaded.
You're putting me in a difficult spot. Well, I disagree with that. Hindi kami natutuwa sa
But
ganun.
baka fake news.
Laking problema nun.
Naging klaro ho ba sa inyo? May Davao Death Squad o wala?
There was an admission. Sinabi na niya yun.
They went there with one mission.
To kill.
We ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point.
Welcome back to Follow the Money. The Senate approves the 6.35 trillion peso national budget for 2025. The budget bill was passed on both second and third reading within a single day after President Bongbong Marcos certified it as urgent. 18 senators voted in favor with no negative votes. However, Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel abstained, saying he is taking a wait-and-see approach as amendments may still be introduced during the bicameral meetings. The national budget is vital for funding development programs, addressing economic challenges, and supporting infrastructure and social services. S&P Global's ratings upgrades the Philippines' credit rating outlook from stable to positive. The sovereign credit rating remains at BBB+. S&P credits effective policymaking and fiscal reforms for the outlook upgrade. It also notes that the recent passage of the Create More law enhances the Philippines' appeal to investors. S&P expects the economy to grow by 5.5% this year, slightly below the government's target of 6 to 7%. It also forecasts inflation to ease to 3.3% by year-end, down from the current 6%. This upgrade reflects growing confidence in the Philippines' economic recovery and its ability to attract more investments. The country's officials welcome the credit rating upgrade from S&P. The finance secretary views this as a strong vote of confidence in the leadership of President Marcos and his economic policies. For Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Eli Remolona Jr., the upgrade highlights the government's success in strengthening the economic, fiscal, and monetary environment. He also reaffirmed the country's capacity to protect the peso with adequate foreign exchange reserves. For our special guest today, the rural banking sector in the Philippines has long been a vital lifeline for underserved communities, offering access to essential financial services. But the spotlight is now on thrift banks, whose assets have climbed to over 943 billion pesos in 2024, a 5.3% growth driven by housing loans, SME support, and personal lending. Joining us today is Rafi Montemayor, chair of Salmon's Rural Bank of Santa Rosa, Laguna. His bank has recently stepped into thrift banking, and we're here to explore how this move reflects the sector's evolution and its critical role in empowering Filipinos. Rafi, hello and welcome to Follow the Money. Rafi, hi.
Hi, Raine. Thanks for having me. Sorry, the audio is not coming out.
All right. Well, can you hear us better now?
Sorry, Raine. The audio, I'm not hearing you.
All right. Perhaps, do we need to do another technical check?
Sorry. I hear the studio instead of you. Sorry.
All right. We'll try to bring...
Oh, here.
All
I
right.
hear you now, Raine.
All right, great.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi. We're grateful you could join us. Rafi, very quickly, Salmon is recently acquiring a thrift bank license and has big plans in the financial space. Can you give us a brief overview of your bank's vision and its place in the 943 billion peso thrift banking sector, perhaps?
So, Raine, just to make a correction, we've acquired the Rural Bank recently in January 2024. Our vision at Salmon is to build the best credit-led modern bank for Southeast Asia, starting with the Philippines. And we're driven by financial inclusion. We're really passionate about providing access to credit to underserved, underbanked Filipinos, which reach tens of millions of people and hundreds of millions of people in Southeast Asia.
May we know, Rafi, what financial habits of your rural bank clients you are noticing this year?
Well, we're seeing a lot more of our loan borrowers using our Cignal app to pay back their loans. So it's around 92% of our customers are using our app. Many of them are using e-wallets such as Gcash to pay back their loans. And so they're becoming more and more digitally savvy when it comes to financial services.
Your Salmon app, your fintech banking is linked directly to your rural bank, is that correct?
Well, we have a financing company within our group, and it takes time to inject this advanced technology into the bank because you have to make sure you go through all the right regulatory approvals. So as we're going through that, we continue to service underserved, underbanked Filipinos through our financing company and our Cignal, which primarily provides consumer loans.
Understood. What are the expectations when it comes to digitalization for your rural clients? And for your current clients, how are they reacting to digital platforms? Are there challenges that remain for rural areas where physical banks are still key?
So I think there are a lot of challenges for Filipinos, especially the rural communities. They are worried about accessing financial services online because they're worried about the identity theft. They're worried about getting scammed. So that's why it's very important for us as a business to help Filipinos overcome those hurdles. So we actually deploy salespeople nationwide to various retail store partners. And that's how we approach customers. We are trusted partners of the retailers, whether it be department stores, appliance stores, mobile phone stores, or even fashion stores, right? So we're able to provide this comfortable environment. We walk them through the loan application end to end, teach them how to use our app, how to pay us back. It's a huge education process that we do. And I think that's important for fintech companies such as ourselves to continue to do. Right? You cannot just go completely digital and expect customers to fully understand how to engage properly.
May we know how many clients you serve right now through the app and how old it is? Would you be able to share how your clients are saving now compared to pre-pandemic trends?
So we've launched our app since March 2023, and we've been lending since November 2022. And we've grown our customer base significantly over time. I think when it comes to deposits at our bank, we're at 522 million deposits, and we've grown that 7x from January when we acquired the bank. And we're seeing customers saving a lot more, and we're helping them because we provide one of the highest time deposit rates at 8.88%. And that's encouraging people to put money in the bank because they're really getting back a significant return for that. So we're encouraging savings of our existing customers and also driving new customers to consider us.
Rafi, many small businesses rely on rural banks for survival. Would you say the same of digital banks? And can you share a story, or what kind of stories do you expect to have when your bank, fully rolls out, when you do finish your acquisition of a rural bank?
So although we focus on consumer loans, what we see is that 1/4 of our customers are using those loans for their business needs. We see people buying videoke machines or things for their small business, or for educational purposes. So we're seeing people really investing in themselves so that they have better earning potential in the future. One of the things that that we encourage our customers to do is to share their stories. And in our Facebook page, one of the things that comes to mind is the story of Christian from Nueva Ecija. His washing machine conked out during his mother's birthday. And his mom is the one who primarily does the laundry for their household. And he and his siblings decided to pull together their money to buy a new one. They went to the appliance store and their money was not enough to buy. Fortunately, one of our salmon sales ambassadors approached him, offered him to apply for an installment loan. We walked him through a 10-minute process where all he needed was one government ID. And we were able to approve him for a loan with a small down payment. And he was able to buy a washing machine combo dryer, which was the dream of his mom. And it's the least that he and his siblings could do for her birthday since their mom really takes care of them. So we have many stories like this on our platform, I think,
right,
about our customers.
Rafi, but what about loan repayments and debt defaults? So what kind of rates are you seeing right now?
So our average past due loans is similar to the average for rural banks, which is around 10%. Our NPLs are at 5%. I mean, one of the things that differentiates us is that we know how to profitably lend to the underserved, underbanked sector. And that's allowing us to really reinvest profits into building the bank by injecting the right banking talent, advanced technology. And so we're making sure that on average, each loan that we disburse is profitable.
Smaller traditional banks often have a deeper emotional connection with clients. Do you see this, expect this to happen even with your digital banking arm?
So even though we are present in digital channels, we believe in being present in all the channels that customers need us to be. At the bank, we are going to be expanding our branches to Metro Manila, Cebu, and in Mindanao. And we will keep deploying salespeople nationwide. So we don't see ourselves really as a digital company. We're really a modern bank. And we'll be present in any channel that makes sense for customers, depending on the product that they need.
Finally, the rural banking sector continues to grow despite challenges in digitalization. Is there a message that you might have for millions of Filipinos who rely on banks for their financial futures?
So my message to every Filipino is that we deserve world-class financial services. We deserve financial services that are simple and easy to understand and are accessible the way we want it. And so we really deserve better. And we invite people to join us at Salmon as we swim upstream against the traditional and conventional approach to financial services.
Rafi Montemayor, co-founder of Salmon and chair of Salmon's Rural Bank of Santa Rosa, Laguna, thank you so much for joining us today and shedding light on rural banking and digital banking's vital role in shaping financial habits in the Philippines. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raine.
Rural banks like Rafi's and digital banks as well are redefining the banking landscape, not just as financial institutions, but as lifelines for communities, driving inclusion and economic growth one step at a time. And before we go, we leave you with this thought from economist and Nobel laureate Robert Shiller. Finance is not merely about making money. It's about achieving our deep goals and protecting the fruits of our labor. And that is it for today's edition of Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News channel, always on top.